Hey guys, welcome back to the Jersey Comic Crew. On today's episode, Rob and I are discussing The Bad Batch, Episode 10, our review, our reaction. Come on inside.
What's up, everybody? Rob and Chris here from the Jersey Comic Crew, bringing you a new Bad Batch review. That's right, today is episode 10, Common Ground. This is your spoiler warning. We're going to talk about the big events of the episode, what we liked about the episode, little hidden Easter eggs, so make sure you keep your eyes and ears out for that. And of course, if you haven't watched the episode, please do, because you're going to get ruined of what happened in this. And before we begin, guys, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, do all that YouTube stuff that we need to keep growing and keep making more content for you guys. So this episode here, had a lot against it. And what I mean by that is, like, the last episode before was so good, so insane. It's kind of hard to follow in his footsteps. And this was kind of like the reset episode, if you will. Like, I don't want to say filler because that's very negative, and, like, this does a lot of good stuff.
It's a bad word.
Like, yeah, it's a bad word in anything content, right? This is the calm before the storm. We see the Empire is evading again another planet on Raxus, trying to control everything, and the Senator Singh decided, he doesn't want to do this. He wants to fight against them. The Empire brings in these two walkers to kind of get everybody in corralled and, like, under oppression. What bothered me about that episode, when Captain Bragg calls in, hey, send them all in. I'm like, okay, she's sending in more stormtroopers, or like this unique task force or something, right? Mm-hmm. And she sends in these two giant walkers, and I'm like, that's awesome. But then they pan out, and I'm like, where? How did you not see the walkers coming, right? How do you not know the walkers are there? Everybody's there. Like, they're like, the people are surprised. Oh my God, the walkers here! Oh my God! I'm like, dude, you would have saw them from 10 miles away. It's all open area. It's not like they were hidden behind a building. Like, hello, we're here to oppress you. I don't know.
That oppression.
that was just a little weird for me.
It was, yeah. I mean, I guess the one thing is, like, they're really slow and they're kind of just crawling, but obviously you hear them
like
and see them.
Stealthy, like
no, they're not stealthy. They're bulky, like
giant
slobs.
Machines.
They're like the slobs of the tech war world. But yeah, I think it was just a thing where everyone's focused on, like, hey, we're at the, this is the capital of the city on Raxus. The senator speaking. He just, like, went from, obey the Empire, they're here to help, to nope, can't do this. Like, now this is kind of all up in the air and crazy. So everyone's kind of like, whoa, what's happening? And they're already pissed. So I think it was just kind of a focus thing. But yeah, interesting take and interesting kind of opening on Raxus, which is a planet we've actually seen before. In the Clone Wars, Ahsoka and Padme, like, Ahsoka kind of assists Padme on this, diplomatic senator mission that they did in Clone Wars randomly all the time to Raxus, which was the actual, like, kind of related to the Revolutionary War. It's like the capital city of the Separatists, kind of like how Virginia was the capital city of the South state. And in this, like, situation, the Separatists are obviously the ones that went against the Republic. So it's interesting to kind of see, like, not only still clone trooper armor and clone War era walkers and utility vehicles, kind of on the side of everything they just fought against, and it's, like, in your face. So that was really interesting to me.
So eventually Singh gets captured and he requests the Bad Batch to help. The Bad Batch, talks to Sid, say, hey, Omega's under too much heat. We're going to leave Omega here with you. We're going to go do the mission. And they leave, and then Sid and Omega kind of have, like, a heart-to-heart. She's like, I don't want to be useless. I want to do something. And then she's like, well, you got to figure something out. Just do something. And apparently she's a whiz at this strategy game, beats all the locals at the bar, and then Sid, you'll see at the end of the episode real quick, she sets up this giant tournament where she just wins boatloads of money and actually pays off all of the Bad Batches that would have taken them hundreds of missions to pay off.
Yeah, that was an interesting, like, faction in this, because I didn't really dot the I's on, like, oh, is she going to pay off their debt? I thought it was going to be like, oh, I'm just going to make money, on a side. Yeah. Like, on the side for her, like, popcorn addiction. And so that was interesting. And, the fact that we now know a little more about Omega, where she's kind of this superior strategist when she's figured out this game. I guess it's like the game of chess in their world. Yeah. And she's able to kind of see moves ahead, which, again, is it possible to relate to Jedi reflexes? We knew Anakin as a child was the only human that could pod race because he could see things before they happened, which, was a Jedi quote unquote tricks. So is that what they're alluding to? Is it just that, maybe her quote unquote mutation, besides the fact that she doesn't age as fast, she could strategize almost anything, which seems like something that could come in massive handy
I think so.
situations later on. But yeah, the game they play is called dejarik. I can never say this word.
Okay.
But it's the same game that like Chewie and R2 are playing on the Millennium Falcon in episode 4.
Yeah, I remember that.
Where like he's like, let the Wookiee win, and he's like, he doesn't rip your arms off if he's mad, kind of thing. So that was really cool to see that come back. And I also love, for some reason, like the barflies at Sid's. It's so like very human. Like if you ever go to a bar and the same people are always there, and you're always just like, what do they do all day?
They're regulars. They just go to the bar to hang out.
And
I had that in back at my place. There's a store called Quick Check, right? And it's like, look, convenience
no one knows
store.
about Quick Check, right?
Some people don't. They're not from this area if they're watching. So it's
is
a
Quick
convenience
Check only
store.
in the Northeast?
Yes.
I thought it was kind of everywhere.
No, it's only in like northern Jersey, I think. It doesn't really like in other states or anything.
Let us know in the comments if you have a Quick Check, by the way.
So there's these same like 5 guys, older guys. They just out front chilling, hanging out, having coffee, smoking, playing lottery tickets. And I'm like, what do they do all day? I have no idea. They don't work there.
And their money on lottery tickets waiting for the hit.
I think they just make their money on lottery tickets to live at the Quick Check. I don't get it. It's just like Jay Silent Bob in front of the
like I was gonna say, it's like a Kevin Smith movie.
It's just weird.
But yeah, so this was an interesting part of the episode too, Rob, that you mentioned with, Hunter making the decision to leave Omega as well, which obviously, like, she's like one of the hottest commodities in the galaxy right now. Everyone's after her. You and I both assume that, we haven't seen the last of Cad Bane or possibly even more bounty hunters or Fennec Shand or whoever. But I want to know what you thought of kind of the position Sid was in the reverse, right? Because we knew, like, leaving Omega, all right, we're going to get some scenes with Omega.
Yeah.
Sid was very non-motherly and like very kind of like, hey, yeah, how about you like wash these tables down? And she's doing the thing where like, I'm upset, so I'm going to pretend to do it.
Yeah.
And
she's
even
like, the bar patrons are like, what are you doing?
Yeah, like, what are you doing? And it's not until obviously like, it's like, oh, you can make some money out of this, that Sid becomes like interested in her. So I'm still kind of on the fence with Sid. And now I don't even know how much of Sid we're going to see anymore.
I think we're done with Sid. Not done with Sid. I think Sid is going to be a reoccurring character, but just super less frequent, right? Like maybe here or there when they need help, they just get this. Because if you have Sid and like they're entangled with Sid, the Bad Batch is kind of anchored and stuck to like Sid's area, right? Mm-hmm. And the show isn't about like Sid and their task force doing stuff. It's about the Bad Batch. They need to step up and grow and get out of there, right? And Sid needs to be just somebody that helped them along the way that they could go back to if they need it, instead of being forced to always go back there like their home base of operations. So I think it's a good thing that the debt was paid in a funny way. So this allows the mobility and freedom for the Bad Batch to keep exploring the galaxy, if you will, to find the answers about Omega, to try to stop the Empire, and start
look for
Boba
Fett.
Look for Boba Fett. I don't.
Ahsoka,
maybe
Rex. Again,
Rex probably is out of all those options. Yes.
Yeah, that's okay.
So then we see the Bad Batch do their mission, right? They go to extract Senator Singh on Raxus, right? They go there. The whole clone Empire states are there. They're trying to sneak around. They don't believe in the droid, but they're kind of like going along with it because they have no other choice. They're taking out clones left and right, using the droid as a decoy. It's a fun episode. Seeing them deal with the giant tankers and the giant walkers was fun. But ultimately, it was cool and all, but like it didn't really move the plot forward. I was more excited about, the debt was paid at the end, right? Unless we're going to see more about this Emperor Singh, the Senator Singh, which we might be a new ally down the road, but like it wasn't anything that wowed me that really moved the story forward. Like I said, it was more of like a cleansing palette. Here's some action. We needed to clear the debt so they could do more stuff down the road, and that's it.
So like I thought mostly like you, where it was like obviously it's a little after the last 2 episodes, I'd say it's going to be hard to keep that up for the there's still like 6 episodes left. But I did think it did a lot better as far as pacing than some of the other lull episodes, like the one on that pacing. Like Dark Planet with the monster, and a couple of the earlier on episodes that were kind of very more, paced way slower. I love when they're all kind of in action together. I could watch that all day. To me, it's like very video game-esque, right?
Yeah.
We gotta like sneak around, take these guys out, enter the compound, go. So that's always cool, based on what they're doing. But I thought on Raxus, a couple of interesting things happened, and obviously the big payoff is the debts paid, right? Like that's the part that moves the story forward. But I thought on Raxus, what was cool is the captain, the Imperial captain, used an Imperial droid, which we see used on Han Solo. Vader uses it on Han Solo in Empire Strikes Back in Cloud City, where he's like, he didn't even ask me questions. He just tortured the hell out of me. So that was cool to see. Obviously, the droid interaction was like something we kind of see with C-3PO and R2, where it's like, we're going to use you and then like blow stuff up around you. The escape was interesting. But yeah, I agree, Rob. It definitely is kind of like a seat that kind of is going to, hey, now their debt's paid. They're going to move forward. But I do have one question, because there is a big scene or a big moment in the scene where they land on Raxus, and we see kind of Tech and Echo bickering throughout this entire trip about, hey, this is not the planet we kind of thought we would go to. This was a Separatist planet, and Tech's kind of the voice of reason, like, well, all that's kind of done now. This isn't really Separatist anymore. It's kind of the Empire and everybody else, right? Yeah. It seems like Echo is still very much loyal to the Republic, even though the Republic doesn't really exist anymore. And I have a feeling they were planting kind of the small seed for Echo, where this is going to become a bigger issue for him and a bigger problem down the line.
You think so?
Where he it wasn't a long scene, right? And they didn't technically, usually most Star Wars scenes when it comes to travel, right? They go into space, you hit hyperdrive, you end up at the planet you're going to. There's not usually a lot in between unless there's like, a movie where there's some time. But with this, it was kind of like, hey, they're bickering throughout getting on, they're bickering getting off. Echo's not happy about it. Do you think there's going to be some kind of, bigger plot line or bigger issue with Echo going down the line that isn't just, hey, plain old, at this point, plain old Order 66, but like, hey, we were Republics, like, we fought for the Republic, I was saved by my brothers, like, all this stuff. He's loyal to the Republic, but it doesn't exist anymore. How does that kind of, like, again, faith, ideology stuff change for him?
So, for me, I view that initially as just, like, Echo's the character to be the skeptic out of the group, right? Okay. He's supposed to be skeptic. He's, like, keeping an eye on everything because, like, he's, been torn down and broken and rebuilt again. Tech is very methodical, just looks at the numbers. But like now you're bringing into this whole aspect, like, is he more loyal to the Republic? Is that going to be a bigger thing? I don't think so. I think it's just going to be focused on that surface level, like, oh, he's a skeptic of everybody, and they're going to kind of leave it at that. It's a good idea, like him being loyal to the Republic and that being an issue further on. That might be the case, but I don't really see them making a bigger plot point here for that. The reason being, if you do too much with each character, it kind of takes away from the group. You make them too much of individuals. It's kind of like you want them to be the same person, but just like different versions of that. So if you have like, oh, we have issues with Hunter, we have issues with Echo, with Tech, with Wrecker, and Crosshair with his big issue, it kind of detracts from the whole cohesive group that we have here and make them too individualistic. So I don't think they're going to focus on that. And also, like, dealing with politics, yes, it's a Star Wars thing, but I think it's going to be more like Empire building a new republic, a new rebellion, if you will. And maybe he's just going to be very enthused when the new republic's being built. That's my thinking.
Maybe and maybe this is, who knows? Maybe he becomes part of the Rebel Alliance, because that's where the old Republic, well, not old Republic, but the former Republic, that's where those good guys go now, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of starting this rebellion with, certain senators who still believe in this secretly. And, obviously we have Obi-Wan and Leia's out there as a teenager, Senator Organa, people like that. I could see him maybe leaving the Bad Batch. I don't think his role is that prominent. You know what I mean? Besides, like, you have, like, it's almost like you have two Tech guys, because right, like Echo jacks into stuff and repairs it, but Tech kind of does the same thing on his pad. You could kind of write that a different way, where it's just one of them, and Echo's kind of, besides that, his best attribute is all the knowledge he has from the Clone War era with the Jedi. stuff like that, where he was able to ID Cad Bane, and he's like, yeah, he fought the Jedi, blah 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 blah. He's got one arm, you know what I mean? So like, how useful is Echo in the overall?
True. I can see that.
Certain characterizations are kind of shining more than others, obviously, and I feel like he's probably the bottom of those characterizations.
Oh, I think so. Yeah, he's the one on the bottom rung. He might be the one to be cut out. You know, as the show develops, we're seeing more different changes. You know, like you said, Omega's becoming more of a prominent role, not just like as the kid. Now we see how good she is at strategy. She has the bow. She's becoming an integral member of their group. So that leads me to my question: what's going to happen in the next episode? Like, is it going to be them searching for more answers? I personally think it's going to be an Empire heavy show. We're going to see Crosshair's point of view again, see what's going on with the Empire, kind of get an update because we don't really know what's going on there. And I think that's good because if you do another filler episode, I mean, there's only like 3 episodes left, right?
6.
Oh, so they could do another filler episode.
There's a couple.
I mean, maybe not a filler episode, another stay the course episode, not pushing the story forward. I don't know. I think seeing a new Empire episode would be what happens next.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm interested to see, to answer your question, like with Crosshair, what's going to come of him after those injuries, right? Yeah. Is he going to have to start getting certain mechanical parts? Are those mechanical parts going to compromise possibly the inhibitor chip, where now he's like fighting it off a little bit and it's kind of going haywire, or is it going to make it worse where he's like now completely psychotic and you know, more machine than man, now twisted and evil? But is that going to be something we're going to see forward? Because he was messed up when we saw him when he got hit with some of that ion cannon from that ship. Mm-hmm. You know, he was basically dying, besides the fact that they were able to get him medical attention. So we haven't seen him since, you know, the Bad Batch escaped. It'd be interesting to see him and what they're doing back on Kamino. I'm also very interested to see what the Kaminoans are doing back on Kamino with trying to get Omega back, with this kind of civil war between Lama Su and Nala Se about ideologies and how they're going to do it. Maybe a little more info on this Phase 3 cloning thing. I'm also interested to see, because Hunter himself, his best attribute is being able to kind of see, you know, everything,
how kind of taking a back step in the last couple episodes.
A little bit. I mean, he's still the leader of the Bad Batch. Like, he's still the first one in line. He's still commanding everybody. I like that Sid calls him like Bandana. Yeah. But I think with him now, part of the reason we saw that end clip of him being like, all right, let's play a game, and if you win, you'll never be left on a mission. You know, hint, hint, wink, wink, she's going to win. Yeah. I think now he's going to be like, okay, now I know her biggest attribute now. This
now
strategy.
We're going to talk to her for strategy. Ooh,
so,
maybe. Like,
how is that going to come into? Is it going to be an arc where we're going to try to extract Crosshair because Tech has that, you know, the ability now to find the chip, and they could do something like that? They'd probably have to find a new medical facility. So I don't know if they're going to do that specific way of extraction again, but. You know, is that going to be the arc, or is it going to be, hey, we're going to Boba Fett, we got to find quote unquote Alpha and get more information about you, but Omega's going to be more into the strategy of things?
I can see that.
That's very interesting to me. I think there's a couple different waypoints. She could
be the person in the chair, you know, like tell everybody what to do, where they go.
Absolutely. And maybe that, you know, her and Echo become like a tag team, like the quote unquote person in the chair, or, you know, because if she's there, someone has to be there to kind of protect her.
But guys, we want to hear your thoughts down in the comments below, what you thought of this latest episode of The Bad Batch. What do you think is going to happen in the future of The Bad Batch and the Star Wars saga?
And guys, thanks so much for watching. Give us a thumbs up, like, really helps the channel out a lot. If you're brand new, subscribe and turn on those notifications. You don't want to miss any more of our Bad Batch coverage. We got 6 more episodes. You got to come right back here and check it out. As always, check us out on our social medias on Instagram and Twitter at Jersey Comic Crew. And as always, I'm Chris Heller. That is Rob Moran with the Jersey Comic Crew, and we'll see you next time.